Netgear.mail. Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computer Stew now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Edmund, your host for the next hour or so, along with Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Gal is here.
Good morning.
And Katie's here.
Morning.
Morning. Our Spence is still out of town. Our number is 561-518-9773. And today's show is made possible by Vimix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. So what's happening? What happened?
Still using Cursor. I'll give everybody a quick update on what I implemented this week. I was super busy, so I couldn't do a ton. But when I did have a moment, I made some really impactful things for the website. So I'm building a book library website where you can search for certain tags and criteria to find a book that you want to read. And there's a website called Goodreads, which is a really popular I don't know, what do you want to call it? Like a book catalog system kind of website. Like you go on there and it's like, here are the latest books that were released. Here are the top books in the fantasy field or whatever. But Goodreads can be annoying because it's all about promoting certain books and it's linked up to Amazon. So anyways, it makes it frustrating finding certain things. But I discovered that you can download your library. So on Goodreads, it's hooked up to Kindle, so when you review a book, it shows up on your Goodreads list that you've read it, and they allow you to download a CSV copy of your library of everything that you've read or reviewed, and it has the author, the book title, what you reviewed it as, and like kind of like the basic information for the book, and which is great because then I took that CSV and I had Cursor write code that would take that CSV and do it in a format that my website could use. And the thing that it doesn't grab is the book description, which is what I want on my site. But I figured out that Goodreads IDs every book, and then it takes the ID number and puts it at the end of their site. So it's like goodreads.com/whatever book in the code. So then I had it, okay, so this is the book idea for Goodreads. Make this new URL. From that URL, grab the description that's on the site and populate it on my back end. And then I had it hook up to ChatGPT AI. So then the AI reads the description and it makes some tags for me for the book. So it'll read it and be like, okay, this has this trope in it and it's this story, it's a thriller, like it'll list out all those tags and then I can go in and review it and then add it to my site. So I have this like convoluted connecting through the AIs on my site. So that's what I did this week.
Ay.
Yeah, AI.
Nice.
So that's cool. And then also what I saw, Claude Design came out this week, or whatever. Maybe it came out before and I was hearing about it. Claude is another AI, and Claude Design. I watched the video, and basically it can make websites, interactive websites, and it looked super cool. And I guess it's competing with Cursor, maybe, because Cursor made the site. I just told it what I wanted, and it kind of made it. I haven't tried it, but it looks really interesting because I don't need another project. Like I only have enough bandwidth for one at a time.
Katie.
Well, Claude, Anthropic, their Claude Codex, I think. Claude Code, that's the main coding agent out there. Like talking about who's leading in the race, etc. It has been Claude Code for a long time. And Cursor, under the covers, right? It uses models from both Anthropic and OpenAI and their own. So in a way, you're using some of Claude's capabilities under the hood with Cursor. But yeah, they're competing. They're competing for audience. They're competing for tokens, for who buys their tokens, etc. So
Yeah, Claude Design seemed to be advertised when I was looking at it to the front end designers, like people like me that are
yeah.
artists that are trying to code stuff. So it looked really enticing. But like I said, I'll test it out eventually, but I don't need another project.
They
Yeah, but go ahead.
they appear to be doing a very aggressive campaign with this because I've been seeing the web design ad that Katie's talking about all over the internet. YouTube, mid-roll, pre-roll ads, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit. It's all over the internet right now.
Mhm.
So I mean, I guess it makes sense. For years and years, we've watched what Squarespace and Wix and some of these other companies advertise, or Shopify, Squarespace, all these other ones, how quickly it is to make a website. And they've spent hundreds of millions of dollars advertising that. So I guess it's not. I guess it shouldn't be a surprise that Claude and their web development AI product is seeing similar levels of advertising. There's obviously a market there. There's no reason that these other companies would be buying Super Bowl ads about building your own website if there wasn't a huge marketplace for it.
It looks cool. Maybe eventually I'll go and ask it to design a book library and see what it does.
I don't think for what you're doing, it will do what you're asking to do it. It is not from at least the ads that I've seen, because I've actually been watching them, unlike most other ads where you just kind of ignore it. They seem to be pushing heavy on this the small e-commerce business, which is a direct shot at like
Wix.
no, not Wix. What's the
Squarespace.
Shopify, like kind of Shopify and Squarespace, and I know they all do e-commerce, but Shopify really hits hard on that. So I'm curious how quickly you can get something like a Squarespace or Shopify, which is, to their credit, a very well versed, very well played out e-commerce platform. How quickly does something like that happen with Claude? I don't know.
I have a question about all this. First of all, what language is it writing the website in?
Doesn't matter.
English.
No, not language. No. I mean,
yeah,
but does it matter?
It's going to be PHP and HTML.
It is PHP.
Is my guess. Is going to be my guess. It's going to be the most basic. It's going to have to be, at the end of the day, a user, presumably in some way, is still going to have to transfer that data to a web server or put it somewhere for it to be hosted.
Yeah.
So it's got to be, for the vast, if you're doing something basic, it's going to be PHP and HTML. I can't imagine it's doing anything else.
Yeah, I did tell you with Cursor, it started out HTML, CSS, and then when I was asking it to do more complicated things, it added JavaScript. And theoretically, I mean, I have opened some of the documents that it's made and gone and changed some stuff because I don't feel like wasting tokens on it. And yeah, and then it told me, oh, you can upload this to Versal, which is a, I guess, website hosting thing.
Hosting platform, yeah.
Yeah, so I did it there, and then it wrote SQL, SQL. Is that what that is?
Absolutely.
SQL documents, and then I go to Supabase, which is database, free database site, server, whatever, and I execute that. So at least for Cursor, it's writing things that are familiar. At least for me, they're familiar. Do I know how to code it? No, but at least I can look at it and be like, okay, I recognize these things.
This is, Katie just said something interesting. Unfortunately, Katie, for what you're doing, it's not a mission critical application, but a free online database company, to me, is sketchy as hell.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. There's something about, and again, most of the, not most of the time. A lot of the time, what you'd be storing in a database like that would be something customer oriented. Not obviously not. We're not talking plain text credit card numbers, unless you're
Yeah.
really, you're not doing your own payment processing. But you could easily be talking about full names, addresses, email addresses, potentially even usernames and passwords unencrypted in a free database system. That
There is a
I don't
paid
know,
version.
that kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, it's a
I don't know.
freemium thing. It's
What is it called?
Supabase. I just so they give you the first 8 gigabytes for free, and I just haven't touched it. Also, I don't store any people's usernames or passwords. That's why I use Google. So I use Google authentication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
So
okay, this company looks legitimate. When you said Supabase, I was expecting some like some mid 2000s like host your website here for free kind of
No,
thing. This is like a
This is
a developer.
This
is a
is SaaS
developer
era.
oriented.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
this was recommended by ChatGPT. So I asked ChatGPT. It was like, because when I want to do something, first of all, I get it. I ask it to explain it to me. I'm like, okay, how would I do this? And then I'm like, oh, well, you would need a server thingy, and here are some popular ones. I recommend Supabase. And I was like, okay. So then when I went to Cursor, I was like, do this and have it hook up to Supabase.
It's pretty lucrative what they offer for free. 500 megabytes worth of database, 5 gigs of egress, 5 gigs cached, and then a gigabyte of files.
That's a lot.
With it says 50,000 monthly users. I don't know what exactly that means, but unlimited API requests.
All right. So
And then-
so go ahead.
And then ChatGPT also recommend Versal. So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So,
So-
if it recommends bad things, I'm just gonna blame ChatGPT.
No, and my point is not that these are bad things. The risk that I had a interesting conversation this week that I'm not going to divulge too much into, but there's a lot of people now that have that could have a lot of sensitive information that are, I think, potentially on the brink of exposing it. And this is not a new conversation, but potentially on the brink of exposing some of that data, not purposefully, not because of laziness, but in large part just because of sheer lack of knowledge. And I just wonder what these kind of sites will play as it relates to a part of that. I don't know.
Vigilance. You just need to make
But
sure.
again, how can you be, Amnon, to be vigilant about certain things that you're familiar with?
Yeah.
I mean,
no.
if I asked you to jump into a boxing rink and I was like, hey, be vigilant of what the other guy's doing, you'd be like, well, I don't know what the hell I'm looking at. Like, yeah, he's moving his arms. He's going to punch me. Like, but
Yeah,
you can't,
when I'm
you
saying,
don't know anything until he punches you in the face. And at that point, your vigilance is irrelevant. And it's the same thing with this stuff.
the vigilance I'm talking about is don't store sensitive stuff.
But
on
again,
it.
well, but you don't have a choice. I mean, if you're
Yeah, in
dealing,
many
if-
cases you
if,
don't.
If
You're
Katie
right.
is selling things and needs to collect shipping information and user information, that is sensitive data. I mean, it's not somebody's social security number, but I don't want, because of sloppy code, I don't want somebody to be able to get access to that and pull down my shopping habits. And I mean,
Yeah, and you can,
that's-
but you can encrypt it. And
you can. Most people are.
Don't.
I would assume that default, most of these tools are not
Right.
doing that with that kind of data. Which again, I don't know that you necessarily need to. I don't think you need to encrypt user first name, last name, email. I don't know that needs to be encrypted. To be honest with you, I think it's a lot
Yeah.
of work for nothing.
They already have it. The bad guys.
But here,
They do.
let me get back to the question though. So now, it's right. You're writing a website that is geared for e-commerce.
Mhm.
So at that point, you are avoiding, let's say, Shopify, WordPress, these
Yes.
standard ones that are very vulnerable if you don't take care of it. Now, is it
No, I would not agree with that assessment. I don't think those sites are vulnerable. Those things are locked. Those things are used to very low knowledge users creating websites and platforms, they are, I would argue, they are very locked down because of the user base.
Well, yes. This one is written completely different way.
Sure.
So that by itself makes it, if you know what you're doing, I guess, more secure. Because now, I mean, when I look at logs of WordPress sites, it's all day long. People are trying to go to domain name / WP admin and they try to log in. I wish like that they would let you change that link to a different name. And that makes it harder for a hacker to get in. Over here, it's things like that I'm talking about. But how far are we from a situation where, oh no, don't use WordPress, use Katie's program. And you can go in the back end and change things that you need to, not Katie, a user.
Yeah, I mean, there's been very small CMSs for quite some time. They exist, and I'm sure if you go on GitHub and look for something, it's there. But the only reason that something like WordPress is so popular is
Because of the numbers, yeah.
well, no, not because of the numbers, but yes, in part, but because of the third party marketplace. Because you can go on
Oh yeah.
Theme Forest and purchase, a already pre-built website theme that gets you 90 or 95% of the way there for $60, and you can install a bunch of plugins for free that add things to calendars, connect with Stripe so that you can collect payment information off-site and it's all encrypted and all that. That's why WordPress and Joomla, to a lesser extent, but WordPress and Joomla are the popular platforms that they are.
Okay. All right.
And so until you get the large user base that will then cause developers to build, but again, kind of what Katie's describing, maybe we're getting to a point where you don't need that. If there's no plugin available that does something on this website, you just ask Claude or Cursor to build it for you.
So the evolution, how this is looking like, everything that you needed a professional to help you with, right? On, let's call them short-term engagements, okay? Whether it is to draw, I don't know, a character doing something, right? Which we've seen DALI start that revolution, and today all of the AI models, they do that very effectively, which is what Katie used to do in the past, right? Like design something visual quickly, right? And a lot of people were making their living out of that. So that, if you need it on a professional level and you need it fast and you needed, the copyright to be um, as amiable as possible for yourself. So today you just go and you ask the tool to generate that for you. The same is going to be for let's call it less complex to mid complexity level projects, right? They could be contained 100% within an agent, an AI agent doing the work for you. But it also means that we're going to see more and more and more pieces of software or websites that are going to be genuinely novel, because the people who never took the time to study code, to understand how to the entire development process, today they can jump that phase, right? And they no longer have that gap in their knowledge, because that gap in their knowledge is filled up by the agent, the LLM agent, and they can create something novel that nobody else wanted to create, either because it either required somebody like Katie with the interest to hire somebody else to do the work, which nobody, there wasn't an incentive to do that. And right now, Katie is paying her $20-$30 a month, right? Until this project is done, at least, right? In order to get something that she has a passion to create, and there's a good chance that she might be able also to share it with a group of people. So that gap is now disappearing. So that's the evolution here. That's the revolution in this technology being available. But the large software shops, they're not going to disappear. They're going to use this more, right? So it's not. I don't think WordPress is going away. I don't think maybe Squarespace will need to change the way they do things. Probably in the back end, there were already some models. Just the choices were a lot limited within what that model can work on, and now it'll be more elaborate. The problem for a Squarespace type of outfit to allow an LLM to do too much within their ecosystem, right? The chances that it'll break something internally is just too high at this point. So there, it will be gradual. It sounds like Claude Design, right, is trying to do that and set up the guardrails internally to make sure that if you're building a project within their ecosystem, that the guardrails are already defined properly and there's no leakage. And we'll see where that goes, because the main problem today with these agents is they do not really understand boundaries. They do not really understand what is good and what is bad, and they run amok, especially when a task gets more and more complex and compounded on the previous one. You need to actually know what you're doing to guide it through very, very complex tasks. Otherwise, it'll just do something wrong, not intentionally, but it will. So, so it's a fascinating time.
All right, let's
But coding, website building, game design, all of that is now getting a fresh perspective from users who were never able to do that, and now they can. That's the amazing thing.
let's switch a little bit here. We've been on this now for enough time, I think, for our users, for our listeners. Let's get something more end user related, really. Amazon newest Fire Sticks are dropping support for normal side loading,
Uh-oh.
blocking apps from outside the Amazon App Store unless the device is registered with developers. Cord
Wow.
Cutters, that's coming from Cord Cutter News. It says, this week Amazon announced the coming launch of a new Fire TV Side Stick HD. The new model will run on Amazon Vega OS rather than Android, so most streaming apps will be supported, but user won't be able to add third-party apps. Now, on the product page to pre-order the new Fire Stick, some Amazon customers are getting the message warning them that the new model won't allow side loading. Interesting, and be careful, not all customers are getting the message, whether signed into Amazon account or not. So if you think if you like to be on the forefront, bleeding it, so to speak, and you say, oh yeah, it's a new one, let's get it, you may have a problem. So be careful with that. Something that changed. Anybody has any comment about this?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the reasons why the Fire Stick remains such a competitor to something like Roku, is because of the side loading. And so this doesn't sound like it's incredibly hard to deal with, but the harder that becomes, I think they start losing users. I mean, a lot of the people that are using Amazon Sticks are using it because they've gotten a jailbroken version of it that has free IPTV where you can watch, and not even free, low cost IPTV, $15 a month for 10 million channels kind of thing. And so that's going to be interesting to see what that looks like.
What happens?
Yeah, I think so. Because I mean, that's the biggest issue, quote unquote, with Roku is that you have everything. There is no ability to sideload. Everything has to come through their app store. So any of the maybe less than legal opportunities to stream content are not available in the store for the end user.
Interesting. They haven't dropped Android, though.
They will. They want to have everything.
No, they're developing another Android-based OS, but it's probably not going to work on the Fire TV. It's going to work on their tablets and stuff like that.
Oh.
This is strange. I think they'll discover. So one of two things is going to happen. Okay, either there's going to be, because Fire TV is already out there. One thing I don't know is whether the existing Fire TVs, they're going to get this Vega OS, right? There might be an over-the-air update in the future. I doubt it, by the way. I doubt it, because changing an architecture on a device, creating backward compatibility for hardware, that's always hard. And there's a few generations we're talking about, so not likely. But if because of the current widespread popularity of Fire TV, there's a lot of people are going to buy the new one, even if they intended it to use it in a different way. It'll be interesting to see whether a lot of these are being returned just because of that, right? That's number one. And number two is whether it's going to pull in developers to create for this Vega OS, and whether it'll be as prevalent and like
we'll have to wait
be
and
as
see.
as ubiquitous, right? The app ecosystem as it has been for the current one. If so, most of these free IPTV solutions, they are available from the App Store, and it's about downloading the app from the App Store, setting it up, and then configuring it to connect to something free. So the real question is, are we going to see that happen? Unlike what we saw in Roku. In Roku, it was a lot more controlled. There was a lot less interest from Roku to open it up for anybody to post something on their app store. So this is going to be interesting.
Well, we'll just need to keep up on it and update the listeners.
And to just kind of highlight the prevalence of this, I mean, I talk to what I would describe as normal, non-techie people every once in a while. Well, I talk to them regularly. Every once in a while in conversation, it will come up, about watching something. I'll be like, oh, what is that on? They're like, oh, I watch it on. I've got a $15 a month thing on Amazon Stick, and I can watch anything. And so I've heard that more than once from inherently non-techie people. So it's definitely there is a user, there is a base there of people.
Yeah. How many people have a car that doesn't have memory, like an central computer?
I have a dumb car.
Yeah, it still has memory.
What do you mean you
Does
have a
it?
dumb car?
And
Well-
what you're talking about cars that haven't been built in the last 30
Right.
years. Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Oh.
if it was
Katie,
built,
does it remember the radio station presets every time you turn it on?
Yeah.
It's got memory.
yeah,
Okay.
it's got more than that. I mean, you
Yeah.
have a pretty new car.
I
The
mean, well,
problem,
so it's like a difference between I call it like the smart car, like a smartphone, and then like going the regular dumb phones. That's how my car is like a dumb phone,
well,
but I guess
here
not.
the there's a little unknown problem that so far researchers did that. You can go to a junkyard and buy the ECU, the computer box for your car. Let's say you want to replace it, you need another one. They took it and they dissected it, and they got a lot of information as far as GPS, where the car has been, if the car has been driving fast. I mean, all kind of information.
My car doesn't keep track of that.
And yes, it does.
No, I don't have navigation on my car.
Okay. I don't
The
know. I
o-
mean,
the only
but
thing it has is radio, and that's it.
well, there's more to it. I mean, your car, if the central processing unit on your car goes, your car doesn't run anymore. Any car that was produced within the last, like, I think 20, 25 years
That might even be longer than that.
has,
I mean,
yeah,
you know, warnings about service. I mean, it has a little calendar
right.
built in for oil change and service and that kind of stuff.
Ah, my
It-
car doesn't have that either. I have a dumb
guarantee-
car.
I guarantee you it does.
Yeah, it does.
I don't even have a screen.
You don't need a screen.
You don't
No,
need a
it
screen. My car
has
doesn't have a
nothing to
screen
do with
either.
the
I get a
screen.
little symbol on my
Yeah.
on my heads up display
Hey,
that says service.
The point here is nobody has any way of erasing this. You know, when you have a laptop and you have a hard drive, people are buying a new hard drive, a new laptop, and they say, "What should I do with the old laptop? I mean, it's not working." I said, "Well, first of all, we need to take out the hard drive and destroy it." And because somebody can get it, if you throw it in the trash, somebody will get it, and they can find out, even if you formatted the hard drive before it broke, which people don't, you can still unformat it, so to speak. So with a car, there's still no way of doing it for the end user. I mean, you may be able to take it to a friend who has a computer, I mean, a car computer. I don't even know if the dealer will do it for you.
Probably
But-
not.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem with newer cars that have those modules in them. And I mean, people don't have internet, so you don't put password and stuff in it. But there are other things. A bunch of little things.
Yeah, the question is, who is that data useful for? I mean, because this is,
I
as you
don't know.
noted, this has technically been possible for 30 years. What
Yeah, I know.
who is going to collect this data, and what are they going to do?
Well, nobody's going to be able to collect it because you have to go and get all the old ones from a junk. No, nobody's going to do that.
But you could collect it. I mean, if there was a business to be made, you'd
Yeah.
find guys that are going to scrap yards all across the United States picking
and
up these things
and collect
doing
them.
something.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
I have
and
no
then
idea.
Sell them to somebody else to do something with.
Yeah, I don't know.
They can have my data. I don't care.
But it's bad. If you have any kind of information on it, it let's put it this way, it can be bad.
Could be, yes.
Yeah, could be.
They can see the 5 radio stations I listen
Yeah.
to.
But there's not really. I would argue there's not really a good alternative.
Now here's something here that I don't understand what they're doing. Households will be called on to boost their consumption of Great Britain's record renewable energy this summer. to help balance the power grid and lower energy bills. We want you to use more electricity. It says under the new plan, people could be encouraged to run dishwashers and washing machines or charge up their electric vehicles when there is more wind and solar power than the electricity grid needs. The
Yes,
pla-
absolutely. That makes sense.
The plan will be delivered with the help of energy suppliers, which may choose to offer heavily discounted or free electricity to their customers during specific periods when the energy system operator predicts there will be a surplus of electricity.
Yep.
Um, I would think that it'd be used better by storing it.
It's too
yeah,
expensive.
it's expensive. I understand.
So cost prohibitive. So it's the you're generating all this electricity from renewables, wind and solar. You don't. I mean, they have some storage. Let's not bury the lead. There's some level of storage, but the alternative to having more electricity and no way to store it is you're literally wasting it. So they might as well try and convince people, even if it's at a heavily discounted rate, to use the energy. Until battery technology changes,
yeah.
and it's I know there's some technology right now, but it's not anywhere near ready for what you're describing. This is the alternative because there's just nothing else to do with it. It's just, you literally burn it off the grid.
John, in the
It's basically gonna say that I don't know, during peak sunny days and windy days, we're gonna get more AI tokens generated.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean, you got to find something something to do with it, or it literally is just wasted.
But
John-
it's
Which is not good
definitely
either.
it's also the opposite of. There used to be back in Israel when there was an energy shortage. The ads would be make sure to power your boiler throughout the night and not in the middle of the day and stuff like that. So it's akin to those. It's just now it's going to be the other way around. It's like, I know you're working and all, but make sure your laundry run is running when you're working. More smart laundromats.
well,
And,
AI will do
yeah.
the washing.
Yeah. Oh, the world is confusing. Maybe use our AI bot to manage your life.
John, to answer a question, John in the chat is saying insurance companies would like to collect driving habits information, speed.
Yeah, but not at that. They can already buy that from Google,
Yeah.
which owns Google Maps and Waze. They can already buy it from Apple. They don't need it. They're not gonna be pillaging through scrap yards to get that data. The sample's too small and it's way too cost prohibitive.
So wait, Amnon, is that why you run your cars for 30 years? You don't want to give away the data?
Exactly.
Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
What we call it.
If I have a car that has that, now I do, but I mean, the other cars that I had were too old to have that. I would take those modules out before I junk it.
Why though? I don't know why.
Huh? I guess it's the way you grow up and the way.
Yeah. Well, I think you come from what you were doing in technology at the beginning makes you more
Aware or more care.
more skeptical,
Yeah.
more 100%. That's totally logical.
Yeah. And Amazon, we were talking about Amazon. Amazon is buying satellite communications company Global Star for
Interesting.
$10.8 billion to expand its LEO satellite internet network and compete more directly with SpaceX's Starlink. The deal also includes a partnership with Apple to support satellite connectivity for iPhones and Apple Watches. with Amazon planning voice, data, and messaging services starting in 2028.
It's going to be game changing.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's going to be a real problem for AT&T and Verizon and T-Mobile, who have just spent billions of dollars
Yep.
bolstering their 5G network and we still don't have this yet, but I'm curious how long it will be until SpaceX or excuse me, SpaceX is Starlink, but SpaceX or Amazon or whoever else offers a direct-to-consumer satellite phone service.
Well, what
Okay.
I'm unclear of, you're saying this might affect cellular providers. We haven't seen these networks saturate the satellite-based one,
That's a good point.
right? We're talking cellular handles today millions of connections at the same time. I don't know if we have. It'll be interesting to see, to test, right? To see those satellites, to see if one throughput, but also just handling the number of connections, their ability to handle millions of connections, probably billions of connections so replacing cellular, I don't see that
It's all
completely
if it
doing
has
that.
more features.
Well, it has a huge
Okay.
feature
Yeah.
that is unbeatable, but again, the full-on direct-to-consumer is the interesting part, because unless I'm out of the loop, and it might be, I don't believe that you can't purchase a Starlink cell phone plan. You can through T-Mobile, or I think it's only T-Mobile right now. You can, if you're out of service, out of range, and you have a new enough phone, it will fall back to a Starlink connection to give you some level of connectivity. But that's not
interesting. Yeah.
but that's not a Starlink phone. You're
Yeah.
riding on Verizon 99 or T-Mobile 99.9% of the time until you're in it. The question is when you can just go to SpaceX and say, "Hey, I have an iPhone 16. I want to purchase quote unquote cell phone coverage." That is when that is when the major carriers start getting probably a little
So that's why I'm
nervous, and
thinking that that won't happen. I'm thinking technology-wise, I don't think it's designed for that. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying
and it
yes
might not
for.
be. Yeah.
Well, that's
I
like
think the
saying
trunk is very, very large, right? But there's
uh,
a limit of the amount of trunks that can be connected, if that makes any sense.
Gal, don't say that, please, because there were always people who would say, and I'll never forget, "Oh, we are at 33 megahertz, 386. That's
Well,
it. Nothing faster.
I'm
It
not
cannot
talking
be."
about whether it can be done or not. I'm talking about whether it's efficient. I'm talking about whether they would even want that. A cellular network will still uh, is still a better way to manage this, right? Even if the backlink is Starlink, right? The cellular is what will allow the ground level communication to be more efficient. Energy wise, just energy wise. It's not about if you need to go a short distance compared to a large distance, right? You need to exert a lot less energy. That's the basic. That's the basic idea here.
These
That's why I'm
days,
saying
these
the
days,
design is not for that.
these days. I mean, you don't know what tomorrow will bring. None of us know. And it's
No,
very
5
possible
meters will
because,
always cost less to communicate with than a mile, and the same goes for 20 miles. So it's not that part will not change. Physics doesn't change.
well, I mean, cell phone is using a lot more energy than landline.
Correct, but
Okay.
you get movement, right?
Well, now, wait a sec. Hold it. Movement is a feature. Yeah, I want to have that
Agreed.
feature. So if you want to have, so people went more and more and more people got cell phones. It's the same thing
Correct.
here. Now, suddenly you're going to have satellite. Oh, yeah. That means that when I go through that road up in the mountains, I will still have
But we
connectivity.
just
I want
talked
that.
that you already have that in a hybrid
Yes.
solution. That's
Well-
what I'm saying. The hybrid solution is the solution, not an all-in. And so
Well-
we're not talking about the same amount of connections.
Uh,
I'll tell you a side effect that might
Think about it
create
this way. Think about it this way from the provider's point of view. You can have, I mean, right now you have DirecTV. How many satellites?
Well, DirecTV is a different technology.
Yeah,
No,
that's-
wait.
that's
I
geostationary.
understand, but wait.
It's only one satellite.
You see, now if a provider could come up with a big satellite
receive
that
only.
will
No,
support
it's not a good
millions and
comparison.
millions, then it saves them money. They don't need to worry about towers or the low
But they don't do
orbiting.
that anyway.
I
That's
mean,
what
Yeah,
I'm
but it
saying.
doesn't save me money as the consumer. If I need to exert more energy in order to communicate with that, so me as a consumer, I can no longer go with a small device, right? Because that small device will be depleted. If this holds today a day and a half, right? Then with more energy exerted, it'll last 3 hours. Not good enough.
uh,
And even when it will get to 24 hours for usage on satellite, then it also means it'll be a week with cellular. That's what I mean. The hybrid solution is always a better one in this term. The miniaturization will happen in such a way that you could have a small enough satellite capable phone, but if you'll have a cellular network next to you, that will be more efficient, right? That's the thing. It's like it's always the complex solution that is probably better efficiency wise. That we're not going away with.
none of us has a crystal ball again, and we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, one of these days, I don't know if it's going to be in our lifetime. They'll. I have a friend of mine that did get a satellite phone, just a straight satellite phone,
Sure.
because he needed it. So it is available to consumers.
Yeah, but
I
that's-
don't
but
remember
that's
how
just-
much.
Yeah, but
But
those
that's
are
just
the
a
old
phone.
generation.
Yeah, that's
But
just
that's
the
not
phone.
that's not data. I mean,
Right.
the ideal solution, quote unquote ideal solution would be if you would have theoretically 100% coverage everywhere with a low orbit satellite based
Right.
cell phone provider. Now, obviously, there are huge issues with that. If you're under an overpass, you have no line of sight. It does not work. It's not RF like 4G and 5G are. So there are issues there. But I don't know how close we are to that and how that would even work.
Well, keep in mind, we already have the hybrid solution, right?
Mhm.
Because these phones, they do Bluetooth, they do Wi-Fi, and they do cellular, right? It's not the only reason we use this. Think about they take away Wi-Fi from this. Nobody will buy it,
Yeah,
right?
That's a good point.
Even though we're buying it for cellular. So that's the same idea. It's just another layer that we're going to get. And yes, we'll get to a point where every single phone will probably have that support, or maybe you can, I don't know, maybe the chip will be in and you'll license the usage. But again, like, I get the progress of the technology. It's not going to replace anything. It's going to be an addition. That's what I'm saying.
Real quick, kind of associated with this, but not really. Gal, have you ever heard of Red Pocket Mobile?
Red Pocket Mobile, no.
Yeah, so it's another third party cell provider, but they offer a feature that is very interesting that I hadn't seen before. I was reading about it this week. It's called Coverage Genius, and so they resell all three of the major networks: Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. And so you buy your service through this company, Red Pocket Mobile, that like they're a Straight Talk or one of those things. But in the back end, if let's say you're on a work trip for the weekend in Miami and AT&T has terrible coverage, you literally log into your account and you can merge off of AT&T to Verizon or T-Mobile, whoever's got better coverage there. Your number comes over and everything like that, and then you can simply just move back when you get back to your home or wherever you are that has better coverage. It's a very interesting concept. I don't know how it works in practicality, but I thought it was a pretty neat feature.
So yeah, so you're in roaming all the time basically. There's no home network, and they just connect you to the best one they have a deal with.
Yeah. It's an interesting concept as we talk about, like, oh, there's Verizon's really good here, but it's not good there. T-Mobile's great here, but I go to two of these places and it's not great at the other place.
Right.
Obviously, I don't. It's not something like, oh, I'm going to turn on Verizon for 15 minutes and then go back to T-Mobile. I mean, it's a process. But it's kind of an interesting thing. I don't use it. I haven't used it. They're doing a lot of advertising in the New York media market, so that's how I heard about it.
Concept makes sense.
You choose. I see.
Mhm.
Their coverage maps, they work on which technology your phone is working at, and as long as you have coverage by some outfit in your area, then they make it so. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and because of eSIM, it's relatively easy to quote unquote switch providers in real time because it's just an eSIM.
I would be interested to see how a bill looks like. If it's transparent to you completely, then fine.
It
Let's
is.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Too bad I signed with
it,
AT&T. I'll be stuck with them for a year at least.
and Eleanor is asking in the chat, any idea how the new and about to be many satellites will react to solar flares?
I mean, they're taking it into account. I don't know if they know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're not geostationary, so they're moving. So presumably, solar flares is a relatively small. Well, it's not relatively small, but it's more in a defined space. So presumably, your low orbit satellites passing through that area where there is some, extreme solar activity, you could deal with some degradation of service. But it's not going to be, we're not talking about an EMP or something where it's
Right,
likely to
yeah.
be affecting the entire planet at the same time. That is always a risk. I mean, go back and read all your science fiction about the big solar flare, the big solar storm that just wipes everything out.
Eleanor, I think at this time I'd be worrying more about when there's that many about accidents. I mean, fender benders in space that another satellite will bump into a satellite and kill it, and they will kill it.
Well, there's already a lot of debris in space that is unaccounted for. So
yeah.
But even as we speak, a lot, right? We imagine bits and pieces floating in space. They are still very, very far apart from each other.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just we do not know where all of the bits are. But it's like we do not know where the Titanic is in the ocean. It took a long time, right? So it's space
Sounds
is
like
huge.
sounds like a business opportunity for waste management.
Oh, you have
Get
to see.
some stuff up there, baby, and start pulling that stuff down. That's big business there for WM.
I think it's still on Netflix. There's a great
Good.
Korean movie, like a great. It's an action film slash, I would say, comedy, uh, called Space Swoopers. I think something like that. Space Sweepers, and it's about the Earth in the future where Earth is uninhabitable and everybody lives in orbit, and there are these the protagonists are guys with a spaceship that what they do is they collect scrap from that's floating around and sell it. So
Entrepreneurs, yeah.
highly recommend.
All right. We were talking about some of the like TP-Link and some of those routers that the FCC says no more. So now the FCC has granted Netgear the first exemption from its foreign-made router ban, allowing the company to keep selling new consumer router models made outside the U.S. through October 1st, 2027. The Defense Department reviewed Netgear's application for an exemptions and found that the products do not pose risks to U.S. national security. So they're not elaborating what and why, but I guess if you want to be on the safer side, get a Netgear. Netgear was the standard years ago. Oh, I've got a Netgear. Yeah, that was a big deal.
I still have a Netgear. I am desperately. I need to just pull the trigger and buy a new router.
Yeah.
I bought this Netgear router when I moved here, maybe 9 years ago. Now I've got much faster internet.
So
Has
here's
Ubiquiti,
another.
been hit by this ban? I
They
wonder.
have not.
Oh no, it's not. You're not going to get hit with it, unless
Not me, the company.
Oh, I mean,
Like, has their gear been
I haven't.
blacklisted? That's what I'm.
No, I've read
haven't
I've
heard.
read nothing about. If so, they have hired the best PR firm in the
Yeah.
world to make sure nobody knows about it because I
Okay.
haven't seen anything about it. Which they also could possibly be doing. So it's
We'll hear
there's
about
always
it
the
when
possibility.
it becomes a problem.
They
for
did you
them.
know that Ubiquiti makes I'm sure Gal's going to say, "Well, yeah, of course." Did you know that Ubiquiti makes EV chargers now?
No, I did not know.
What they are
I'm not.
charging it
They
wirelessly?
No, not wirelessly at all, but they sell EV chargers that integrate so one of the
Wow.
and it's not I would argue it's not super well used and maybe that's not accurate for me to say, but
It's not
you-
fast.
with part of Ubiquiti's ecosystem with its cameras is access control. So badges to tap into rooms, into buildings, you know, access control for a variety of different things. And so they now sell electric vehicle chargers that can fully integrate. This would be obviously more for a business corporate side, but can integrate and do integrate into your access control system so that you can monitor who is charging their car when and do all of that stuff all within that same unified ecosystem. When I first saw it, I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then I thought about it. I'm like, actually, this makes complete and total sense that they would just buy third party somebody else's charger, add their Ubiquiti flair to it for, all their ecosystem and sell it.
Yeah, I see it now. Yeah, interesting.
And if you live in Mississippi and you like to drink alcohol, you may have a problem.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Mississippi has one warehouse run by a contractor that sells its liquor for the entire state of 2.9 million people. Any restaurant, anything, liquor store has to get it from there. But then
So what? It burned
Mississippi.
down.
What?
It burned down.
No. No. It has to do with computers, right? But then Mississippi warehouse managing contractor implemented a new computer system that wasn't compatible with the state delivery system. Then things got even worse. The problem, business owner alleged, is that the company tore out the conveyor belts but didn't hire human to replace them.
Who's the company? Was it LB&B?
I don't have it here, but I mean, it's. I guess it won't be hard to find out who it is because they said there's only one warehouse.
Well, I mean, Amnon, there's only 2 warehouses in North Carolina too.
Really?
We have the same setup. Yeah, there's one in Raleigh and one in Clayton. That's
Wow, I didn't know that.
Now again, it's a little. You got to be careful when you're saying alcohol. You'd be talking about liquor, beer, and wine. That does not go through.
No, we're
at
talking
least in
about
North
hard
Carolina.
liquor. Yeah.
Yeah, that beer and wine does not go through the ABC system. But if you are drinking any liquor in North Carolina, unless you're buying it directly from the distiller, which is allowed, your alcohol is coming from one of two warehouses managed by a company called LB&B in Raleigh and/or Clayton, who had a similar problem a couple of years ago when they somehow managed to lose like $300 million when they were doing a software upgrade. So yeah, this is pretty typical for these.
Never mix
vendors.
software and liquor, man.
No, definitely don't get a very lucrative stake. And they make the state pays them something like $60 million a year. It's some absurd amount of money to manage this. So yeah, this is in controlled states like North Carolina and Mississippi. This is very, very common.
And you would wonder, well, why don't they know what to do?
Well, they don't have to know. They get paid such insane amounts of money from the state, and there's really no risk of them ever losing the contract, that they can pretty much do whatever the hell they want.
Amnon, they've never read the phrase never use what you sell.
You think that could have been the problem? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last thing. Yeah, I'm sure you guys heard about it. According to Financial Times, Meta is developing an AI avatar of Mike Zuckerberg.
Yeah, I did see this.
That could interact with employees using his voice, image, mannerism, and public statements.
I thought he was already an avatar.
Well, he is, but remember, as I saw this week, Meta spent like $80 billion developing a metaverse, and nobody has any legs. It's just a bunch of floating objects. So this is the
I
full
saw
body.
Somebody post a news article that says that come October, Meta is gonna lay off around 8,000 people. I don't know where. Yeah, I don't know if this is based on internal information or just analyst. But yeah, that would track if that happens. So
there was a major somebody laid off like 2,500 employees this week. It was a major tech company. Was it? I think it was Snapchat.
Yeah, Snapchat.
Yeah, Snapchat fired a bunch of people this week.
Yeah, Snapchat is laying off about 1,000 employees, 16% of its workforce.
Yeah.
And they're closing 300 open roles as it tries to cut costs and push
I will still argue that a lot of this is still COVID era blossoming that has finally kind of hit the end of the road. Because if we went back to the archives of this show from 6 years ago, we'd have a story about how Snapchat is in the process of hiring 5,000 new employees to expand this, that, or the other. This is still a lot of that time frame still playing. Plus, the business is changing. What are you going to do?
And, well, they're saying right out that they want to go with AI and be more efficient. So
yeah, that's
what
it's a good way to fire
people. As working for a company that has embraced AI, right? We have more work than ever. It's not less, right? So it's all about, yes, it's about efficiency. Yes, it's about switching. AI is just a great marketing buzzword today to sell to investors to say this is the reason, but it's further than from the truth. Yeah.
One final story here, Amnon, before we go.
Yeah.
Live Nation got dealt a massive blow in the federal court system this week. A jury ruled that Live Nation and Ticketmaster, which is their subsidiary, are in fact a monopoly. That's what a jury came down and said. The question, obviously, they're going to appeal. The $1 million question that everybody's asking is, will the judge in this case order a divestment of Ticketmaster and actually break them up, or will they just pay a minuscule fine and continue operating? So breakup would be huge for the ticket and concert and live event venue industry. I'm not sure that's going to happen though.
Okay. Do healthcare next.
It's possible. So we'll
Oh,
keep an eye on that. It's a very interesting story. Could have a huge impact on things that you wouldn't think, but absolutely will and could.
I needed a manual for 77 CRV, a Honda CRV. Omar gave me a car. I wanted a little car. And I went looking and I said, nah, I'll pay $14 on eBay. No, it's like $57 for a manual. So I said, well, let's see if somebody else has it. So I typed it into a search, Internet Archive. You can download it.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Always check the Internet Archive for old manuals.
Unfreaking believe it's the same thing.
Yep.
I mean, of course, you have to download it and print it if you want to. What was it, like 1,300 and some pages? Which, no, you keep it on the computer and you look it up as
Search,
you need.
yeah.
Yeah,
If you need to print off a couple of pages when you're doing something, you can.
correct. But yeah, that's the first time in all these years that I'm uploading stuff to Internet Archive that I'm downloading something.
I will encourage people all the time. Internet Archive typically, I should say typically, a lot of the time does not show up in Google search results or even Bing results. And so if you're looking for something kind of obscure and you're not finding any luck on Google or Bing, pop over to Internet Archive, archive.org, and you might get lucky because there's a lot of stuff on there.
Yep.
Especially like what Amnon just described, manuals, old software.
Yes.
A lot of stuff on there.
I had to do that for my when I was applying to community college and I wanted to take some classes, but some of the classes had prerequisites and I already have a bachelor's degree. And in order to like ask to get out of those classes because I've already taken them, you have to find the original description for the class and then somebody reviews it and of course the website, like the classes don't exist anymore, like they've changed or whatever because it's been like 10 years, over 10 years since I was in college. But I went to the Wayback Machine and I typed in my university and I think it was like, oh, look at this website from 2008. And there it was. They had the class description from 2008. And I was like, perfect.
Yeah, that's the Wayback Machine on archive.org. They have a Wayback Machine that you can go and type any domain name, and they have like intervals that they take a snapshot of the website. So you can see when it started and how it developed and went on. I mean, even the one that you are creating right now, does it have its own domain?
No.
Oh.
I mean, I guess it does through the website, but I haven't bought a custom domain name yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can, every domain name out there, any website domain name, you can see how things developed or how they wind it down. It's very interesting. Like it's called the Wayback Machine, but it's
By the way,
it's on archive.org.
yeah, and by the way, they are constantly battling being shut down because copyright holders see them as infringing on them from time to time, and also they need a lot of funding to do what they do. But one use that I use them constantly is Mati, my wife, when she scrolls Facebook, she's bombarded with ads, targeted ads, and they are very effective. And from time to time, she would something caught her eye, catches her eye. At least she knows. Hey, could you check if this site is legit? And one of the first thing I do is go to Wayback Machine to that website to see how long it had existed in this form. Sometimes it's a reused domain, and so you see that maybe there was a website there a few years back, but suddenly 2 months ago, it looks like a storefront. Suspicious, right?
Mhm.
Stuff like that. If it's been doing business for a long time, then it's worth diving deeper and seeing whether it's, it's SSL certificate is valid. If it's, then I go and dive deeper. But Wayback is awesome in helping determine whether something is a scam immediately.
Yep.
So
Yep. And in the early days, they didn't have pictures; they just had texts. And now they have pictures and stuff, so you can go back and see how things actually looked. All right. It's this time of day. We're a little bit over, but that's all right. Anything else? A nod? No, a yes.
Nope. I'll
Okay.
just keep talking about AI every time I come
Oh.
on here.
All right.
I do have a question.
Okay.
Up Katie's alley. AI and 3D printing. Where is that at?
Oh, it's good. Well, so the latest stuff I've seen is AI software making 3D models, and I tested Bamboo's one, and that was great. I haven't really tested anything else. I tried to use the Microsoft one, but I couldn't figure out how to download the 3D model it made. I think it requires some kind of account or something. I don't know. My attention span has been too busy to try to figure it out. But it's making good progress.
So we're at the point where we can prompt an agent and it'll create a 3D model and modify it based on your requests.
So the process right now, and granted, I'm not super knowledgeable of the latest and greatest, is that you go to like ChatGPT or something and you ask it to make an image, and
Okay.
you tweak the image through ChatGPT the way you want it, and then then you can take that image and go to the 3D AI software, and it will build what the image is. And I don't know if you can talk to it, the AI agent for the 3D. I think the Microsoft one you can, uh, but the one that I saw with Bamboo, granted, again, things change so fast, and I haven't used it in like 3 months. You just upload an image and it would recreate it, but you don't necessarily talk to it with prompts.
Okay. Cool.
All right. Well, thanks, Katie. Very informative. Gal, same. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Nick.
You're welcome.
And
My pleasure, as always.
good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Dana, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov, and Yael. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers to Canal. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. And remember, change any same password wherever you use them. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2canal.com. Monday through Friday, 5 to 6 a.m., Nick hosts the Carolina Journal News Hour on WBT 107.9 FM. And it's on YouTube. So just go to YouTube and look for the Carolina Journal News Hour, and it'll give you all the details. And Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 a.m., Nick hosts the Nick Craig Show at nickcraig.com. So just go to nickcraig.com and get all the information. Have a great week. We'll be back together next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.